When you think about Jak II, a few words probably come to mind. Edgy, challenging, renegade, a GTA clone, and recently I heard for the first time something that made me pause: a soft reboot. The sequel to Jak and Daxter took everything that worked for the first game and aged it up for a mature audience. And in doing so, Naughty Dog completely flipped the identity of the franchise on its head. Up until this point, Naughty Dog was known for making colorful, eat-for-everyone games. But Jak II was the moment everything changed. The tone got darker, the world became harsher, and the once lighthearted adventure turned into something far more aggressive. This shift divided fans right down the middle. Some loved seeing Jak grow into this more edgy, rebellious character. Others felt the series lost its identity by changing it so drastically, so quickly. But divisive or not, Jak II became a defining title for the PlayStation 2 era. Welcome to episode 6 of the Naughty Dog Takeover. Today, we're heading into Haven City in Jak II.
Okay, watch and learn.
Oh, I'm learning alright.
Ellie, stay up, come on! What? Is that it?
You asked for it.
For all my returning viewers, welcome back. And for anyone new to the channel, welcome. I'm glad you're here. I'm the Retro Phantom. It's nice to meet you. Every weekend I cover games that help define gaming and made our childhoods what they were. Right now, I'm in the middle of the Naughty Dog Takeover, covering every major release all the way up to Uncharted 4. And later this year, we'll be closing things out with The Last of Us Part 2 and Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. So, if these games are your kind of speed and you're looking to relive some memories, I encourage you to hit that subscribe button. We're less than 1.5 thousand subscribers away from 10,000, and every bit of support helps push us closer to that 15,000 goal. If you learned something new, enjoyed the video, or even just like to fall asleep to it, liking and hyping up the video goes a long way. It helps smaller channels like mine survive in the YouTube algorithm. And lastly, if you're feeling generous, you can always buy me a cup of coffee. Link is in the description. With that said, let's dive into this. Now, if this isn't your first Naughty Dog video, feel free to skip ahead. I'll give you a moment to do that now. As we've covered throughout the Naughty Dog Takeover, Naughty Dog began in 1982 when Andy Gavin and Jason Rubin met at a weekend Hebrew school and bonded over their obsession with computers. Gavin handled the programming, Rubin focused on art and design. Together they learned game development from scratch. No internet, no tutorials, no AI, just trial and error. After years of small PC titles, their first real break came with EA, where they adopted the name Naughty Dog, but their defining moment came during the PlayStation era. With the help of Universal Interactive, they created Crash Bandicoot, a character that would become synonymous with the original PlayStation. The Crash trilogy pushed Sony hardware to its limits and established Naughty Dog as one of the most technically impressive studios of the 90s. But there was one major problem. They didn't own Crash. When Naughty Dog walked away after Crash Team Racing, the franchise stayed with Universal, and what followed was a slow collapse of creative direction. Crash moved on to other consoles, other studios, other visions. For Gavin and Ruben, the lesson was clear. They were going to build something new. They needed protection. So in January of 2001, Naughty Dog made a defining decision. They sold the studio to Sony. Not out of weakness, out of foresight. Game budgets were exploding. Crash Bandicoot had already cost over $1 million to develop. The next generation threatened to balloon into tens of millions of dollars. Self-funding AAA games was no longer sustainable. Sony didn't just buy Naughty Dog, they stabilized it. The acquisition removed financial risks while allowing the studio to remain creatively independent. For the first time, Naughty Dog could build something without worrying that one misstep could end everything. That something was Jak and Daxter. Released in 2001, Jak and Daxter: The Precursor Legacy was a technical showcase for the PlayStation 2. A seamless world, no load times, vibrant characters, Pixar-level animation. It wasn't just a new IP. It was Naughty Dog proving they could evolve beyond mascots. And it worked.
Yeah, I remember that day. 32 against 2. Slow day for yours truly. I'll let Jack handle these workers. Once in a while, I throw him a bone. Yeah, I let him have these ones too. He's been a little rusty, so
Hi, Jack.
I was just talking about you.
A new legacy is born, ready for everyone.
Now that we're all caught up, there's something important we need to address before diving into Jak II. Let's talk numbers. The final Crash Bandicoot game developed by Naughty Dog, Crash Team Racing, sold 4.9 million copies. Jak and Daxter: The Precursor Legacy across its entire lifetime sold 3.64 million copies. And if we zoom in even closer, Jak didn't outsell Crash Team Racing in its first year, and Naughty Dog took notice. That's not to say Jak was a failure. It absolutely wasn't. It's on the greatest hits. But the numbers told a story. The mascot platformer era wasn't dominating the way it once had, because in the early 2000s, gaming was evolving. Players were getting older, consoles were becoming more powerful, and suddenly, bright collectathon platformers started carrying a stigma. They felt kiddie in a market that was rapidly maturing. And then came the one game that shifted everything.
July 10, 2002. This is the nation's top-selling video game. The object?
Kill as many people as you can, get as many stars as you can.
And millions of kids are mastering it by learning to slaughter bystanders.
It's as close as you can get to like killing someone without like being arrested or really killing someone.
Kill police officers. Hire prostitutes. Club them to death and reclaim their money.
Like an adrenaline rush.
Tonight, it's just a game. Playing Grand Theft Auto 3.
If you want the full story of GTA 3, check out my retrospective on it. But understand this, GTA 3 didn't just succeed, it redefined expectations. Real cities, gritty tone, player freedom, violence, moral ambiguity, and Naughty Dog was watching firsthand. Some of them were even playing the game during the development of Jak II, passing the controller to see who can get to 6 stars the fastest. So we see Naughty Dog was taking notice, and if we look at Josh Shear and Sam Thompson who will work on the game, they later spoke about this turning point. They said, Jak was revolutionary for us, and then the next year and a half we started to see titles like God of War and Killzone. Everything started to change. You had Grand Theft Auto 3 coming out, all of a sudden, it's about real worlds, photorealism, gritty stories, a lot more violence. Jak and Daxter had none of that. Sheer went even further. Near the end of Jak I was when GTA III came out. While we were trying to finish the game, we were sitting around the lounge trying to rack up 5-star ratings as quickly as possible. If you played Jak II, that set off some light bulbs in Jason's head. And those light bulbs turned into ambition, because this wasn't about copying GTA. It was about survival. In a post-mortem for Jak II, Daniel Ari, known as Daniel Gray in some transcripts, opened up about the studio's mindset. We looked deeply at the current state of platform gaming, and although we had tremendous respect for those who had shaped the genre, we felt that after breaking through the 3D dam and flooding down the ravine of possibilities, platform games had run their current course. We saw the genre suffering from a general malaise and a waning audience. And we were convinced that this atrophy was due primarily to the lack of innovation in a changing market, especially in light of new gaming paradigms that had evolved. Gone were the days when coin collectathons and neon bright worlds were enough to excite players. The maturing video game audience wanted more realistic themes and intense experiences, and platform games had the decidedly uncool stigma of G-movie kiddie fare. Naughty Dog decided that if we could make Jak II more mature, and a deeper emotional layer to the action and increase the entertainment value of the entire experience, we could reignite interest in action platforming. The audience was maturing, and Naughty Dog decided to mature with it. Their goal wasn't to abandon platforming, it was to evolve it. So yes, compared to the first game, Jak grows up. He talks now, he has rage, he has trauma, he has an edge. The silent, wide-eyed hero was gone, and that was intentional. For this new direction, lead designer duties shifted to Evan Wells, a veteran who had been with Naughty Dog since Crash Bandicoot Warped. Now, I want you to remember that name. He'll become even more important in the next video. Jak II took 2 years to develop. They had 52 core developers, 140 voice actors, 2 musicians, 3 sound engineers, support from Sony's internal teams, and lastly, a budget of $15 million. And that number, 15 million, ties directly into what Andy Gavin feared. Budgets were ballooning. AAA development was becoming high risk, high pressure. But with Sony backing them, Naughty Dog could push further. They doubled down on storytelling. They made Jak speak. He was voiced by Mike Irwin, giving him personality and emotional depth. Collecting was more optional, and like the first game, they avoided pre-rendered FMVs in favor of real-time in-engine cutscenes to maintain immersion. This wasn't just Jak and Daxter 2. This was a reinvention, and whether fans were ready for it or not, Naughty Dog was about to take a risk.
A lot of what Jak II is what we wanted to do with Jak I, but just ran out of time. We had a lot of time working on new technology. We created an engine that was extremely competitive, and Ratchet & Clank is considered one of the best games of last year that shared our engine, so Ratchet & Clank was using the same technology. We built upon that again. We've done another 2 years of technology work. This is kind of our 2.0 engine. But we weren't fighting just to get stuff up on screen, which we were with the first games. So we had a lot of things that we wanted to do that we just simply ran out of time. So the maturity was not one of those things. The second thing we did is we looked at the market 2 years after Jak and said, okay, what's happened? And things had changed greatly since Crash days. When Crash came out, well, first of all, there hadn't been a GTA 3. Certainly there had been violent video games, but they were almost more slapstick arcade games like what was it called, Slasher or whatever it was, more than something serious. And certainly none of them were that much fun that they really drove something home. Something like Mortal Kombat was violent and it was a huge success, but it wasn't that much different than Street Fighter. Then the violence seemed like anything more than kitsch, right? Street Fighter was actually a much better fighting game, so people just kind of said, oh, the gore's kind of kitsch, so it didn't sell off what Grand Theft Auto set up. And I'm about the oldest person that could have a lifetime devoted to playing games. I don't remember a time before games, really. We're still playing games. 33-year-olds, 25-year-olds. And somebody very bright said at Rockstar, there's this huge market out there. They've got more disposable income than 14-year-olds. They buy their own games. Let's supply them with games. And as soon as they opened Pandora's box and said, here's fare for you that those people wanted, not necessarily violence, but something a little bit more mature. Play a criminal, things like that. Something that just had a little bit more edge than the friendly fare like Mario and Sonic and stuff like that. And as soon as Pandora's box were open, the 16-year-olds and the 14-year-olds were saying, I want to be like the older guys. I want to play their stuff. Common, right? You want to be like somebody older than you. And certainly Grand Theft Auto couldn't be as successful as it was without 14 and 12-year-olds playing it.
After 2 years of development, millions of dollars, and a complete reinvention of the franchise, Jak II officially released on October 14th, 2003 in North America, and just 3 days later on October 17th, 2003 across European markets. But depending on where you live, the title carried slightly different identities. In PAL regions, the game was renamed Jak II Renegade, leaning harder into the darker tone and anti-hero branding. Everywhere else, it was simply Jak II. No subtitle, no holding, just a statement. And when players finally stepped into Haven City, we saw the fruits of Naughty Dog's gamble. The question wasn't whether the game looked different, it was whether the risk was worth the reward.
For every age, there is a time of trial. The rocks faced such a fire before they were the strength beneath our feet. As a sage of considerable years, I have known only one such great ordeal. Yet the hero it created was a champion for all time.
We set out to do a lot more than just create another game that has more levels and different enemies. We wanted to change the player's experience, give them something that they hadn't had before, while still retaining the feel of Jak and Daxter.
That's right. Don't mess with the sugar.
We wanted to get away a bit from the pastoral, beautiful settings of the original and throw the player into a new place where we really kick up the intensity and throw in a lot of action and a sort of palpable sense of menace.
We've been waiting for you.
In Jak II, we were able to build upon what we had created before and go in all new kinds of directions and create things that would not have been possible with the original engine because we had such a great starting point to work with.
We wanted to really up the ante in a number of different realms. First of all, we wanted to put a lot more things on screen, enemies that were attacking you, things moving around, so the player had the real feeling of being in an inhabited world instead of just a pretty world, and that adds a lot more options in terms of gameplay.
Let me handle this, Jak. Watch my finesse and style.
So this story is a much more complex story than the original Jak and Daxter. We're exploring a large number of more adult themes. There's bigger, greater evils around you, and there's betrayal and love. This is not just a kid's story. This is a story with a much broader reach.
Jak has really done a lot of growing up this game. The plot actually starts out with him spending some time in jail, and he becomes hardened. Some experiments have been performed on him while he was doing his time.
You should at least be dead with all the dark eco I pumped into you.
When he emerges, he's definitely changed, and Daxter takes notice of that right away.
Say something! Just this once!
I'm gonna kill Praxis!
Shh. Right now, we gotta get you out of here.
Now we really have the opportunity to really develop his persona and his character. There's a very volatile element to this universe, which is the dark eco. And now we start to see how that's affecting Jak.
Easy now. Easy, buddy. It's your old pal Daxter, remember?
Here we have the evolution of what became the final Jak. Here we started seeing the Jak that we're more used to. His hair got a bit more weighted down. We still wanted to keep it long. Actually, we tried the buzz cut here. We tried various other looks. The locks on the side, the facial hair still is kind of sticking around. We kind of like this kind of look as well with the rebel look and the old headgear and a bit added on. So we can see that Jak's been through some combat. He's beefed up and he's ready to go.
It took us a long time to find the right voice for Jak. But Mike Irwin, I mean, if there is a person in the real world that is Jak, it's Mike Irwin.
I want the Baron to know that it's me. who's hurting him.
Max Casella has returned to reprise the role as Daxter, and he is just a goldmine for us.
Blow it out your ear! You were bottle-fed, weren't you?
He's a bit grown up now because he's now in the big city, and there's a lot of big city vices for him to experiment with.
Wait, I've seen you before.
Shh! I'm Tess. Play along, and I may be able to get my hands on a few secrets.
Ooh, I love undercover work, baby.
The abuse of Daxter is the fun of this game.
Once again, being your friend sucks.
Daxter is strange enough, but Pecker and Onan, these characters are crazy. They're out of this world.
I am Pecker. Yes, I know. My mother, she was very vindictive.
We have characters who are multidimensional in this game. All of them have character arcs. They all have goals and they have things that they want, and it all ties together back into the main story.
The reason the animation looks more sophisticated this time around is because there's been some tweaks to the engine. We're also just being a lot more clever about the way we allocate memory and design our levels.
I'm just getting started.
Our characters now have upwards of 10,000, 12,000 polys in them, whereas in the first game, the original Jak and Daxter, the characters would have maybe 2 or 3. The bottom line is what we are doing now in real time on the PlayStation 2 took an entire room full of computers, hours to do, as little as 5 years ago.
We have a much greater amount of detail in the new game. We have single locations on our game that have larger polygon counts, equal polygon counts to some of the entire levels in the original game.
Did you get a little nip and tuck while we were gone?
We've got full-on facial animation with multiple blend-shaped targets. We have dynamic animation of things collapsing and blowing up. We have particle systems animating dust and explosions. And all this stuff is being done in real time by our code on the PlayStation 2.
Step aside, Jak. Let the game player do his stuff.
It's always been the push at Naughty Dog to try to create the next big experience, create the next big thing. And we're very, very fortunate that we have amassed a talented group of people that can achieve that.
One really important addition to the Naughty Dog design team is Yasuhara. Yasuhara comes to us from Sega. He's been working on titles that changed the industry radically. He's not only incredibly fast, incredibly detailed, and really talented, but he has a new idea set, and he brings with him a really fresh way of looking at games.
もうJak and Daxter 1の本当にファンでしたね。で、お誘いがあった時には本当に嬉しかったですね。これでやっと理想のチームと仕事ができるんだっていう、本当に楽しみでしたね。
The locations in Jak II are just f***ing huge. I mean, it's out of control. There's one location that is 25 times larger than our largest location in the original Jak and Daxter. So the amount of gameplay and immersion that you're going to get inside of these environments is just going to blow your mind.
There's so much more of everything. There's more enemies, there's more in-game characters to interact with. Everything is just more of Jak has tons more moves, he has a hoverboard, he has weapons, and then there's other stuff that you'll get to see when you play the game.
What's great about working with Naughty Dog is these guys are not happy just to have their game look as good as their previous game. They want to set a new standard for animation or artwork or programming on every single game that they do.
We're always trying to push the envelope on both a technical and artistic scale.
We have far better creature intelligence. We have far better cinematic sequences. We have far bigger and far better worlds to explore, locations to go to, a humongous city.
Jak II is really a landmark title for Naughty Dog. We're really trying to create a cinematic feel that will set the new standard that other games will try to emulate.
I think the PlayStation 2 and Jak and Daxter are really pushing entertainment into a new direction.
Here is a quick spoiler alert as I'm about to tell the story behind Jak II, along with light spoilers from Jak and Daxter. Now, if you're not a fan of spoilers, please advance this video to the gameplay overview section as seen on the timeline below. Let's dive into this. The story opens up similarly to the first game, with a monologue from the Green Sage Samos. He once again speaks of destiny and legendary heroes as we cut to Jak, Daxter, Kira, and Samos preparing to investigate the massive precursor ring left behind at the end of the first game. Kira has been studying the ancient technology and believes the machine she's built, the Rift Rider, can interact with the ring. The idea is simple: activate the ring, travel through the rift, and discover what lies beyond. Before they depart, Samos hints that Jak may be the key to unlocking the Rift Rider's true power. Once activated, the precursor ring responds. Coordinates flash across the device, and then everything goes wrong. The portal destabilizes. Creatures begin pouring through. We later learn these monsters are known as the Metalheads. As the Metalheads' leader emerges, Samos reacts with unexpected recognition, almost as if this outcome was inevitable. There's a subtle suggestion here that events are unfolding exactly as they were meant to. With the chaos erupting around them, Jak slams the lever forward. Then the group is pulled into the rift. During the violent trip through time and space, they're separated. As Jak struggles to hold on, Samos delivers one final message for him to find himself. They crash into an unfamiliar city. The Rift Rider is destroyed on impact. Before Jak can gather himself, armed soldiers known as the Crimson Guards surround him. Daxter escapes. Jak does not. We quickly learn that the ruler of the city, Baron Praxis, has been searching for someone like Jak. Then he is taken prisoner. We then cut to 2 years into the future. We see a hardened Jak strapped to the chair while Baron Praxis oversees a brutal experiment. Jak is repeatedly injected with Dark Eco, the unstable substance we encountered from the first game. The Baron is desperate. Haven City is at war with the Metalheads, and Praxis believes that weaponizing Jak could be the key to victory, but the experiment appears to fail. Furious, Praxis orders Jak to be executed, and just as it seems like the story might end before it truly begins, Daxter returns. This is where everything changes, because for the first time in the series, Jak speaks.
Ding ding, 3rd floor. Body chains, roach food, torture devices. Hey, buddy, you seen any heroes around here? Whoa! What'd they do to you? Jak, it's me, Daxter. That's a fine hello. I've been crawling around in this place, risking my tail, literally, to save you. I've been looking for you for 2 years. Say something, just this once.
I'm gonna kill Praxis.
Shh. Right now, we gotta get you out of here. Just let me figure out how to open the security locks for your chair so I can... Or, you can do it. Jak, easy now. Easy, buddy. It's your old pal Daxter, remember?
Daxter?
What the heck was that? Sheesh! Remind me not to piss you off. Come on, tall, dark, and gruesome. We're out of here. I brought you some new threads. Put them on.
Reunited at last, the duo proceeds to make their escape from the prison. As they fight their way through Haven City, they cross paths with 2 figures, an elderly man named Core and a mysterious young boy. Jak, still unstable from the Dark Eco injections, is on edge. When Core approaches, Jak responds with hostility. The Dark Eco is clearly still affecting him. His tone, sharper, his patience, thinner. Daxter quickly steps in, apologizing for Jak's behavior and joking that he's still learning his proper communication skills. But as the conversation unfolds, something becomes clear. Jak and Core share a common enemy, Baron Praxis. Before the moment can settle, Crimson Guards flood the area, declaring everyone present under arrest for harboring an underground fugitive. The tension spikes instantly. Core pleads with Jak for help. In return, he promises to introduce him to someone who can truly aid him in his fight. And that's when it happens. Dark Jak awakens. Overcome with rage, Jak transforms and violently wipes out the Crimson Guards with brutal efficiency. It's powerful, it's effective, but it unsettles him because this isn't who he believes he is. Something inside him is wrong, and while Jak is disturbed by his transformation, Core is impressed. He praises Jak's strength and emphasizes that the young boy with him is extremely important, though he does not elaborate why. There's a subtle intensity in the way Core studies Jak, almost as if he's seeing potential far beyond what anyone else does. After ensuring the child's safety, Core reveals more information. There's a resistance movement in Haven City operating out in the slums. They're fighting back against Praxis and the Crimson Guard. The group is led by a man only known as the Shadow. Core suggests that Jak and Daxter could be valuable assets to aid in this rebellion. With little else to go on, the duo make their way to the city's underbelly, where they come face to face with Torn.
We're looking for a guy named Torn. Core sent us. Are you Torn?
Maybe this guy's a new, like you used to be.
New faces make me nervous. Word is you're out to join the fight for the city. You know, picking the wrong side could be unhealthy.
We want to see the Shadow.
Not likely. If you want to join something, why don't you and your pet go join the circus? Unless you've got the fur for a really tough task. Steal the Baron's banner from the top of the ruined tower and bring it back to me. Then, maybe we'll talk.
The duo accepts the challenge. Their first major task: travel to the ruined tower and capture Baron Praxis's flag, a symbolic strike against his authority. They make their way to the tower, fight through resistance, and complete the mission. But as they escape, the structure collapses beneath them. Somehow they survive. Torn is stunned by the destruction left behind. Whatever doubts he had about Jak and Daxter quickly fade. These two aren't just lucky. They're dangerous. Back at the rebellion's hideout, Torn waits. As Daxter casually goes in for a drink, Torn opens up, revealing that he was once a member of the Crimson Guard himself, a former insider turned rebel. That history explains his intensity and his distrust. But there's no time to linger. Baron Praxis has cut off the water supply to the slums as punishment. Torn orders Jak and Daxter to restore it. The duo ventures beyond the city walls, battling through waves of metalheads until they reach the massive water valve system. After a brutal fight and some help from Daxter, the water is restored. When they return, Torn is visibly impressed, but Jak isn't interested in praise. He wants to meet the Shadow. Torn tells him that meeting will happen in due time. For now, there's more work to be done. Another task. This time, Torn wants them to infiltrate the fortress and destroy one of Praxis's ammo dumps. Jak agrees, not just for the rebellion, but because he wants Praxis to know he's still out there. Inside the fortress, they witness something unexpected. The Crimson Guard are making deals with the metalheads, supplying them with eco. The enemy Haven City claims to be fighting is being fed from within. After observing the exchange, Jak and Daxter complete their mission and destroy the ammo dump. Returning to Torn, Jak reveals what he saw: corruption at the highest levels. Torn is impressed by their reconnaissance and confirms what they are beginning to realize. The city is rotting from inside. Then Torn assigns them another dangerous job. They must transport a bag of eco ore through the city and deliver it to a supplier named Crew. The mission is risky. The Crimson Guard pursue them relentlessly through Haven City's streets, but after a chaotic chase, they finally arrive face to face with the man himself, Crew.
Let me handle this, Jak. Watch my finesse and style.
Don't forget to
Everything's cool. Nobody panic. Hey, big guy. You Crew? Well, we shook the heat, and your shipment's in primo condition.
That's good, eh? Because a cargo of rare eco ore is worth more than 10 of your lives. And of course, I'd be forced to collect slowly. The underground will take anyone with a pulse these days. And what we have here, the Shadow's mascot of the month. Ooh, soft. Zig, this fur would go well with my silk suits, eh?
Listen, tons of fun. Anyone can see that you, and I have the real juice in this burg. We're both players, right? We're both looking for a piece of the action, right? I think we can do business, right?
We did you a favor. Now it's your turn. Why is the Baron giving eco to metalheads?
Questions like that could get a person killed, eh? Zig, we El Capitan here and his friend, Bonus. If you want to see what that baby can do, try the gun course outside. Show me some skill with that hardware, and I'll hire you for a job or two, eh?
Now armed with the scattergun, Jak proves he can handle himself. Crew takes notice. Impressed by Jak's efficiency and his willingness to get his hands dirty, Crew offers him a place among the Wastelanders, his group of outcasts and mercenaries operating outside the city's moral lines. Jak is open to the idea. Taking down metalheads? That's personal. Daxter, on the other hand, isn't so sure about aligning with a crew like this. To test Jak further, Crew sends his right-hand man, Sig, to accompany them on a mission to the pump station. Sig carries a devastating weapon known as the Peacemaker, a clear sign this isn't a scouting trip. Out at the pump station, Jak once again proves his worth. He fights through waves of metalheads with precision and control, earning Sig's respect in the process. When they return, Crew is pleased, but he's not done. He assigns them another mission, head into the sewers and disable a series of turret guns. It's a messy, dangerous job, but this time, before working, Jak pushes back. He refuses to continue blindly. He wants answers. Why are the metalheads and the Crimson Guards working together? Cornered, Crew finally speaks out. The Baron, he cut a deal.
We're not doing anything until you tell us why metalheads are trading with the Baron's forces.
I should have had you both kneecapped, eh? All I know is that the Baron cut a desperate deal with the metalhead leader. Metalheads need eco, so the Baron supplies them with regular shipments. In return, the metalheads agree to attack the city just enough to satisfy the Baron's continued rule.
Yeah, but how long can that deal last?
Well, the Baron is running short on eco, eh? And the metalheads are short on patience. Baron Praxis needs this war to keep in power. Otherwise, the city would put the true ruler on the throne, wherever that little brat is.
Daxter and I will clear your sewers. And we haven't forgotten about that weapons upgrade you promised in return.
Bloodsuckers.
After handling the situation in the sewers, the duo returns to Crew, ready for that little upgrade he hinted at. Crew tells them that there's a blaster mod stashed in some crates at the port. If they can find it, it's theirs. Simple enough. Jak and Daxter head out there and retrieve their new toy, adding more firepower to their growing arsenal. When they return, Crew has another proposition. He explains that Errol is the reigning champion of Haven City, and he wants Jak to take a shot at him. But before that can happen, they need to prove Jak is worthy of joining the racing circuit. First tests get from their location to the race stadium in under 3 minutes. They make the run, and when they arrive at the stadium, Jak and Daxter hear a familiar voice echoing through the area. But we'll come back to that reveal shortly. Instead, Jak approaches this woman overseeing the racing team and expresses interest in joining. She immediately dismisses the idea. She's not looking for any new racers, especially not ones that are working with Crew. Still, she hands them a jetboard and tells them to prove themselves. The duo takes the challenge head on, mastering the board and completing the stadium trial with ease. When they return, Jak reminds her they passed the test. She tries to brush them off again, clearly not fond of Crew's involvement. So, Jak changes tactics. He doesn't want fame, he wants access. He explains that winning the race means a tour of the Baron's palace, and that's what he's really after. Reluctantly, she agrees to sign him up But if they can restore power to the stadium elevators, if they do that, they can earn their shots. With that objective set, Jak heads back to the slums and reconnects with Torn. Torn has another mission lined up: rescue Vin. But as the conversation unfolds, it becomes clear that there's a bigger problem heading over Haven City.
Warp gate at the power station and use it to travel to the strip mine so you can rescue Vin's pathetic hide.
Hey, tattooed wonder, how come we get all the crappy missions?
Because I don't like you.
Fair enough.
Whatever deal the Baron made with the metalheads, the city's eco is almost gone, and his time is running out. If we don't get the kid back on the throne soon, there may not be a city left to defend.
The duo successfully rescues Vin, who's noticeably shaken. Once he regains composure, Vin explains the severity of the situation. The metalheads have been attacking the mining operations, burning through massive amounts of eco, and according to him, eco is what powers Haven City's protective shield. If the shield goes down, the city falls. No shield means no Haven City. Vin urges Jak not to act recklessly. They need approval from the Shadow before making any major moves. With the metalheads' threat escalating, Vin asks Jak to destroy the metalhead eggs, threatening the mines. Using a mounted turret, Jak wipes them out. When the immediate threat is handled, the duo heads back to Crew's establishment. Inside, Daxter quickly notices some eye candy working behind the bar. He starts flirting, only to realize it's Tess, but not just Tess. Tess from the underground. Before Daxter can accidentally expose her, she explains that Torn sent her undercover to spy on Crew. She tells them to play along and not to blow her cover. Daxter, of course, takes that as an excuse to hop behind the bar and tie one on. While he's getting increasingly inebriated, Crew approaches with another job. He needs them to collect money owed to him from around the city. In exchange, he rewards them with a gun upgrade before settling up for a nap. After handling Crew's business, Jak and Daxter return to the slums. Torn has new intel. One of his former Crimson Guard comrades is stationed at the pumping station and needs assistance. The duo heads out once again, and there they meet Ashlyn. After helping her fend off the threat, she updates them on the growing instability within the guard ranks. The situation is getting worse from the inside. With little more to say, she speeds off.
Watching me take care of those metalheads was, pretty exciting. Wasn't it, Sugar? Hey! Sweet stripes! Give me them digits so I can look you up sometime! We'll party hard! Big city style!
Tell Torn Baron Praxis is planning something big. I think it has to do with that symbol.
What is it?
It's the seal of the House of Mar, the founder of Haven City. We're being sent out on suicide missions to locate artifacts from the time of his rule. If curiosity's worth dying for, you can ask the blind old soothsayer in the bazaar named Onin. She might know something about all this. Here's my bazaar access security pass.
Your name's Ashlyn, huh?
We're even now.
Wow! What a woman! Arrgh.
After their encounter with Ashlyn, the duo receives another assignment, this time from Onin. Onin asks Jak to recover 3 important artifacts: the lens, the shard, and the turning gear. These precursor relics are crucial to their ongoing efforts, and as usual, Jak and Daxter get the job done. With that completed, Jak shifts focus back to his true objective, reaching the Baron. To do that, they need to access one of the palace's support towers, so Jak turns to Vin. Through a mix of persuasion and pressure, Jak manages to convince Vin to activate the access elevator leading towards the palace structure. Once inside the tower, the duo must restore the power by activating 5 switches, each one guarded by deadly motion-sensing turbo cannons. It's a brutal gauntlet of platforming and precise movement, but they survive. With the switches activated, access to the palace is finally open. After some intense platforming and infiltration, Jak and Daxter make it inside the Baron stronghold. And that's when they see it. A secret meeting between Praxis and the Metalhead leader.
I will have more eco by week's end.
We'll transport it directly to your nest, as promised.
A deal is of no value if you can't deliver, my dear Baron. I grow impatient with your puny gestures. Give me the agreed-upon ego soon, or the deal is off, and your precious city will pay the price.
He's toying with us! Let me lead an assault on the nest before it's too late! I can take him!
Patience, Commander. No one has ever penetrated the Metalhead nest, you know that. I've seen what comes of such foolish plans. No, strength is their weakness. We play helpless. We train them to eat from our hands. And then... Move forward with the plan! Tell Ashlyn to up her patrols. I want that tomb found.
But your daughter has not been agreeable.
I'll see to that problem, one way or another.
Ashlyn is the Baron's daughter?
And find that child! If you'd spent half as much time looking for the little brat as you spent flirting with that mechanic girl, we would have pinned his royal ass to a wall long ago.
As you wish. With enough persuasion, I'm sure our spy... What was that?
Outside the palace, the duo is confronted by Baron Praxis himself, now suited up in a heavily armed combat mech. What follows is a full-scale shootout across the palace grounds. Blaster fire everywhere, explosions tearing through stone, Praxis throwing everything he has at them, and somehow Jak and Daxter come out on top. Wounded pride, damaged suit, but the Baron survives. After narrowly escaping, the duo returns to the underground. Waiting for them are Torn, Core, and the mysterious young boy. Torn is furious because Haven City is now on full alert. Jak and Daxter have officially made the most wanted list. When they explain what happened at the palace, the secret meeting between Praxis and Metalhead leader, Torn grows even more frustrated. No one authorized that assault. They acted alone. And now the rebellion is exposed. But when Daxter mentions that Praxis plans to double-cross the Metalhead leader, Core reacts very strongly. He becomes vocal, almost offensive about the betrayal. It's a subtle moment, but it matters. Since Torn is fed up with their recklessness, he assigns them something more controlled. Escort underground members safely back to their homes. After that, he gives them another task. Head to Deadtown. The area is overrun with metalheads. Worse, it's considered sacred ground. It must be protected. Out there, among the ruins, the truth finally reveals itself. They didn't travel to another world. They traveled to another time.
Is that? No, it couldn't be. That's not...
It's Samos's hut.
But what? How? When? Where? Why?
We're in the future, Dax. This horrible place is our world.
After defending the site and piecing together what happened at the beginning of their journey, the duo returns to the underground, demanding answers. And that's when they see another familiar face. The Shadow.
No kidding. We used to know the guy that lived there.
So, you're the new recruits who keep getting into trouble.
Oh, no, not you!
Welcome to our humble underground movement. I am known as the Shadow, but you may call me Samos. And you are?
Jeez, Jak, we went through all that to meet His Holiness, Old Loggerhead Grandpa Green?
Don't you know who we are?
Sorry, kid. Never seen you before. And I never forget a face, especially one that ugly.
So it begins.
How is this possible? We came through the rift with you. Into the future, right?
Yeah, you used to look older than dirt and uglier than a knotted stump. What gives? Did you get a little nip and tuck while we were gone?
Listen, boys, I don't know what kind of twigs you've been chewing on, but I don't have time for this. We've got a Baron to overthrow, a child heir to protect, an invasion of metalheads to stop, and a city to save. I'd say the schedule's pretty full. Besides, I haven't gone through any rifts. I hate teleporting.
Sure sounds like the old Samos.
Right now, I need you to go to Haven Forest and root out a few metalheads. That forest is my source of power, but I can't protect it much longer. Chase down and destroy all the metalhead scouts you find there. Good luck. and welcome to the fight.
After assisting Samos, Jack shifts gears and reconnects with Crew. Crew has another job lined up. He wants Jack to destroy Crimson Guard's listening equipment stationed at the port. The Baron has eyes and ears everywhere, and Crew does not like being monitored. Jack handles the job. When he returns, he notices something suspicious: a Crimson Guard walking out of Crew's bar. Before Jack can even question it, Crew quickly dismisses the moment and instead congratulates him on destroying the cargo at the port. Then, Crew reveals his next ambition. He wants to expand his operation. And to do that, he needs labor. Cheap labor. He asks Jak and Daxter to free a group of lurkers, claiming they'd be useful workers. Now, considering what we've experienced with the lurkers in the first game, the request feels questionable. But in exchange for another weapon upgrade, the duo agrees. They remain skeptical about helping him. After completing that task, Jak reconnects with Ashlyn. The Crimson Guard are conducting operations when the Metalheads launch a sudden ambush. Jak and Daxter jump in to assist, helping push back the attack. Impressed by their precision and combat awareness, Ashlyn admits that she had been skeptical of their so-called strategic attacks. Now, she sees they're more reckless than rebels. Returning to Samos, she gives them another assignment: escort the young boy safely to Core. Samos explains that the necklace the boy wears may hold deeper significance. There's something important about him, something tied to all of this. Eventually, they meet Core at Vin's lab, and during the conversation, Jak once again demonstrates his abilities, proving he's far more than just a prisoner turned rebel.
Interesting. That insufferable mutt never liked anyone but the boy before.
I guess I'm just good with animals.
I hope we have enough eco to keep the metalheads at bay. During my travels in the deep wasteland, I saw some of the bigger ones. Awesome creatures.
We saw a big one coming out of a rift once. He was ugly!
I have some valuable information for you. The Baron is conducting an excavation at the dig. He is still looking for that ridiculous tomb. Frankly, I don't believe it exists. But you might as well go out there and disrupt his operation just in case. Knock down all the scaffolding at the site. That should set him back. Here is an air train pass to get you out there.
Back with Crew, he assigns another task. This time he wants the Ruby Key, an artifact said to have belonged to Mar, the founder of Haven City. To retrieve it, Jak and Daxter head to the sewers, drain the flooded sections, and recover the Ruby Key from the depths. It's another reminder that Haven City's history is buried beneath its corruption. Not long after, they return to Vin, who was increasingly paranoid. He believes he's a marked man. According to Vin, the metalheads were attacking the strip mine, and the eco wells powering the city are in danger. If those wells fall, Haven City's shield could collapse. The solution? Bombs. Jak and Daxter arm the bombs and race against time, destroying the vents in under 2 minutes before the entire operation implodes. As they return, Daxter cracks a joke at Vin's expense, but Core quickly steps in, shifting the mood. He warns them that both the Metalheads and Praxis are escalating their plans. The time for small strikes is over. Praxis must be stopped. Core then gives them another high-risk assignment: return to the dig and wipe out Crimson Guard forces using a mobile turret platform. 40 guards later, mission complete. With that handled, Jak finally circles back to the racing opportunity. They return to the stadium at last, and the woman overseeing the team steps forward from behind the curtain, and we get a warm reunion.
I'll send you a medal. Now, if you don't mind, I'm on a deadline, so scram.
Are you always this difficult?
Let me handle this, Jak. Listen, lady, we beat your stupid course, and we can outrace anybody in this city.
Wait, that voice.
Now, there's just 2 things you need to know. 1, we don't want to join your stinking race team. And 2, you just lost a date with Orange Lightning. Let's go, Jak.
Daxter, it is you!
Kira!
Oh, I never thought I'd be so glad to see your furry mug. And Jak, you look different.
It's been a tough ride.
The Baron pumped our boy here full of dark eco, and it did something to him. Now he's got super moves or something. And a few anger issues as well.
I've been looking for you guys forever. And planning a way to get us back home. Somehow that rift took us far into the future. I've calculated the time displacement, and I think I've got it.
Well, sort of.
Working with the underground, fighting the Baron. But he's,
What?
You need to go see him. And I need to get to the Baron.
You could try to win the Class 1 racing championship. The winner of that big race always gets to meet the Baron in the palace. But you have to qualify by winning the lower class races. There's a Class 3 race starting soon. You can drive for my team. But Jack, we should think about getting out of here. I don't like this place, and some of the people are creepy.
Jack, my boy, I need that ruby key you found, eh? A special client has requested it.
Sorry about that, crew. I must have forgotten.
Right.
The duo enters the race and wins. After crossing the finish line, Ashlyn approaches and praises their performance, admitting they were impressive out there. Jack introduces Kira and Ashlyn to one another. The tension is immediate. Kira already knows who Ashlyn is, Baron Praxis's daughter, and she doesn't trust her. The atmosphere is thick. During the conversation, Ashlyn opens up. She confesses that she doesn't agree with her father's rule or the direction Haven City has taken. She makes it clear that she's not blind to the corruption. Before parting ways, she warns them. The Crimson Guard is actively hunting them, and they should keep an eye out for Errol. After the tense reunion, the duo returns to Onin. Onin informs them of something far more significant. They must locate the Tomb of Mar. Baron Praxis is searching for it as well, but there's a catch. Only one true heir of Mar can open it. According to Onin, the legendary precursor stone lies within the tomb, an artifact rumored to hold vast eco-energy. In the wrong hands, it could devastate the entire city. Jack and Daxter gather another piece of the Seal of Mar and return to Onin. When they arrive, Cor and Onin are arguing. They are arguing about the young boy and if he's old enough to face the metalhead leader. Their disagreement grows tense, and then something shifts. Onin becomes uneasy. She says Cor's voice sounds familiar. They're suspicious, but they move forward. Later, Onin offers Jack a test, one of intelligence rather than strength. Jack completes it successfully, revealing the third final piece of the Seal of Mar. The seal is now complete. With all three artifacts assembled, they activate the ancient light tower in No Man's Canyon. The beam of light pierces the sky, revealing the hidden location of the Tomb of Mar. Drawn to the glowing signal, the duo heads towards the city's outskirts, because inside that tomb, the heir must face their destiny.
You did it, Jack. You actually found Mar's tomb.
Great. Now what? We send this poor kid into a meat grinder?
This is the day I've long awaited, to finally hold the fabled precursor stone in my hands.
You must be cautious, child. The tests of manhood are sure to be fraught with peril, and Mar's heir must face them alone.
It's okay, kid. You can do it. It's just a deep, pitch black, sure to be filled to the brim with painful death old tomb. I wouldn't go in there.
Welcome, heir of Mar. Finally, the chosen one stands before me. Enter and prove yourself worthy to claim the ancient birthright. No. This child is too young to face the tests.
What? No! Do something, Jack!
Jack, remember the sure to be filled to the brim with painful death part?
Great tree limbs! He's going to face the tests.
No, he's gone to his death.
Freeze!
Inside the tomb, the duo faces what can only be described as a true test of manhood. Ancient trials, old school platforming gauntlets, puzzles that demand patience and precision. It's a throwback to classic challenge design. No shortcuts, no mercy. After surviving wave after wave of tests, Jak and Daxter finally reached the heart of the tomb. And there it is, the precursor stone. As Jak steps forward to claim it, a familiar booming voice echoes through the chamber. It sounds like the Oracle from the first game, so I'm gonna just call him for now the Oracle. The Oracle congratulates them for surviving the trials and reaching the stone alive. It begins recounting the history of the artifact, speaking of its immense eco-power and the responsibility that comes with wielding it. For a moment, it feels sacred, earned, and then everything falls apart.
Welcome, young warrior. Many eons have passed since our hope burned so brightly. Today you have proven yourself worthy to receive Mars' legacy.
He's talking about me! Thanks, your holy statueness. This tomb wasn't so tough.
What you are about to receive contains grave power, and with it comes grave responsibility. Eons ago, the precursors waged a terrible war with the Horoquan, those dark creatures you refer to as metalheads. Driven by their dark leader, the Metalhead Legions destroyed our great civilization, and now they swarm the universe unopposed, looking for the last relics of our power. Ma tried to hide the precursor stone in this tomb to protect it from them. It is our last hope, and you were chosen to keep that hope alive.
I think you got me confused with someone else. I just want the stone.
It is time to fulfill your destiny. Behold.
Wow! Let's get the goods.
Fools! You brought me right to the stone. Your pitiful underground friends were no match for my guards above. Now I will gain the power I need to crush my enemies. And after claiming the stone, I'll begin with you.
Abomination. The precursor stone was not meant for you.
After defeating Praxis for a second time, it seems like justice might finally be served. But even in defeat, Praxis escapes. And worse, he takes the stone with him. Frustrated and empty-handed, the duo returns to the underground. Torn is waiting, and this time, he's not angry. He's conflicted. He has been misusing his influence. Torn finally comes clean. He sold them out. The Baron had leverage. When Ashlyn's cover was blown, Praxis threatened to eliminate her, and Torn, despite everything, couldn't risk her life. It was a gamble he was not willing to take. Now realizing the damage that's been done, Torn shifts from guilt to strategy. He proposes a two-part plan. Rescue Samos and the others, and reclaim the precursor stone in the process. The duo splits up. Jak heads towards the fortress. Inside, he fights through the relentless waves of Crimson Guards, navigates deadly traps, and pushes deeper into enemy territory. When he finally reaches the captured allies, the truth unravels even further.
Hey there, sweetheart! The Metalhead Masher has saved the day! Oh, and I let Jak tag along too.
Oh, my little hero!
Samos, are you alright?
What took you so long? I added 6 rings to my trunk waiting for you two to get me out of here. Great yakkow horns! What happened to you, Jak?
Wait a minute! You're you! I mean, the other you! I mean, you know what I mean.
Yes, it appears I have an older time twin. Great grass grubs. I can't believe what a cranky old log I become.
2 Samos the Sages. Ah, Jak, they're multiplying!
We need to find the kid pronto. What are you talking about, old growth? The kid already opened the tomb. Our top priority should be to disrupt the Baron's forces. Oh, look who thinks they've sprouted. If you were half as wise as I am, you'd know that the proper course of action is to find the kid. Listen, you old dried-up leaf. I run this outfit, and I say we go after the Baron's forces.
Do we have to separate you two?
Vin's activating the warp gate. We need to get out of here now.
Back at the underground, the two Samoses begin piecing things together. Intelligence has reached them that the Crimson Guard is deploying bomb-carrying bots in an attempt to breach the underground defenses. Even as the two Samoses argue over how the events are unfolding and who is truly responsible, they ultimately send Jak back out into the field. There's no time to sit on revelations. Jak reconnects with Crew, where he and Daxter meet up with Sig. By now, Sig has developed a genuine respect for the duo. He quietly admits that he's not comfortable with the direction Crew has taken the Wastelands. The greed, the secrecy, the deals, he wants out of it. But before he can elaborate, Crew wakes up from a nap and interrupts the moment. He assigns them yet another task. Escort his men through the sewers to visit Mar's statue. Crew believes the statue might be holding a secret. When they arrive, the truth becomes clear. Crew's men destroy the statue, extracting the heart of Mar gem hidden within it. Jak is furious. He realizes he just helped desecrate a sacred monument, all for Crew's profit. The moral line keeps getting blurrier and blurrier. After that, Jak heads to the stadium and comes face to face with Errol. The tension is immediate. Errol, working alongside the Baron earlier in the game, and hasn't forgotten the previous encounter. He boasts, taunts, and makes it clear that he sees Jak as a threat. Not just on the streets, but on the track. Then Samus and Kira enter, and Kira actually compliments Errol. And instead of being calm, Jak reacts with jealousy. He's still hardened, still guarded, still unsure where he stands with her and after everything that's happened. The emotional distance is obvious. Frustrated, Jak refuses to participate in the Class II race. So, Daxter steps up. Against all odds, Daxter takes the wheel and wins the second challenge. But even with the victory in hand, the tension between Jak and Kira lingers.
Now there's a handsome winner.
You did it, Daxter! You helped us qualify for the big race!
Did you ever doubt? I backseat drive for Jak all the time. Hey! When do I get the winner's big kiss?
Maybe later, if you're a good boy.
Hey there. We showed those Class 2 losers a thing or two, huh?
I saw. You drifted a little high in the turns a few times, but you hung in there. I'm proud of you, Dax.
Really?
Yeah, you did great.
No, we did great. Right, partner?
After the race, Jak returns to Crew's bar. Crew has one final business opportunity. He wants Jak to throw the next race, let Errol win. In return, Crew stands to make a fortune. Jak doesn't hesitate. He tells Crew he intends to race, and he intends to win. Moments later, Errol confronts him directly. The tension escalates quickly, especially when Errol brings up Kira. That's all it takes. Jak accepts a one-on-one race, and he wins. Errol, furious and humiliated, speeds off, wounded pride burning hotter than his engine. Afterward, Jak assists the older Samus once again. Samus has been nurturing a life seed, something sacred, something important. He asks Jak to deliver it to Onin so it could be prepared properly. The hope is that it will help young Samus fulfill his destiny and become Samus the Sage. Jak delivers the life seed to Onin, who thanks him and begins the preparation ritual. She then sends Jak to Haven Forest to protect young Samus from the Crimson Guard, while he communes with the plants. During the vision, the truth becomes terrifyingly clear. The Baron plans to destroy the Precursor Stone. He believes cracking it open will unleash enough power to win the war, but the consequences would be catastrophic. The plants themselves plead for protecting. If the stone is shattered, the world would be destroyed. Back at Vin's lab, Core is visibly infuriated. The Baron still has the Precursor Stone, and tensions are rising. Core is also upset over Torn's betrayal, though Jak assures him that they're working to fix it. Then another bombshell drops. The Baron is holding the boy hostage. Now the question becomes clear. What is Praxis planning next? Core gives Jak immediate orders. Return to the drill platform and destroy the main control tower. The Baron has been using Eco to power his war machine and needs it to be stopped before Haven City collapses. Jak completes the mission, and with that handled, it's time. The big race. But before the engines ignite, Kira makes a massive reveal.
I'll show you guys what I've been working on if you promise not to laugh.
Ooh, I love surprises, and I love to laugh. Show me, show me.
I've been building a replica of our crashed riff riding machine from old artifacts.
That's my girl.
But I'm still missing 2 pieces.
Figures.
Vince says I need an artifact called the Time Map and an old energy gem history books called the Heart of Mar. And I've looked in every book on precursor history I can find, but the rift ring seems to have vanished.
You did all this? I mean, that's useful.
Oh, will you two stop moping around and make up already?
I've seen the Heart of Mar. Crew has it. We'll get those 2 artifacts, Kira.
Attention all drivers. The Class 1 championship race is about to begin.
Well, here goes. The race of my life.
Jack, I just wanted you to know, well, you're the best racer I've ever seen.
Hey, what about me? I helped get us here.
Do you want to drive?
Against that crazy loon arrow? No way! You got the handlebars, brother. And you'd better keep us alive or I will never speak to you again. Obviously.
Leave him in the dust, Jack.
The race is tense and the stakes are high, but Jack comes out on top and finally gets the audience he's been waiting for.
A brave man of the people. And who is this worthy opponent? In my world, good men are bought or broken. So which is it?
Surprise.
What?
Just a little closer. We need to talk.
Fool! Don't you get it? It's over, Jack. All the heroes died long ago. Only survival remains, by whatever means. This city is mine. These lives are mine. This war is mine. War people die. Kill me. Look out! I win, Jack.
After Arrow's big finale, Jack wastes no time. He heads towards the palace determined to stop whatever Baron Praxis is planning, but before he can get far, Ashlyn intercepts him, weapon drawn, holding the duo at gunpoint. The tension is thick. He tries to reason with her. He tells her the truth, that Praxis plans to crack open the precursor stone. If he succeeds, the destruction won't just affect the metalheads, it could destroy everything. Ashlyn hesitates. She calls Vin to verify the information, and once the truth sinks in, her loyalty shifts. For the first time, she openly turns against her father. She hands Jack a security pass and reveals critical intel. Praxis is meeting Crew at a secret weapons factory. Jack heads there immediately. Inside, he confronts Crew face to face. Crew doesn't deny it. He admits he's been working with Praxis. The plan was simple. Use the newly constructed piercer bomb to crack open the precursor stone and wipe out the metalheads once and for all. Collateral damage, secondary. Victory, almost in reach. Crew sees it as a business. Jack sees it as madness. What follows is a fierce battle between hired gun and mercenary kingpin. And this time, Jack comes out on top.
Is it too late to give my notice?
Yeah, we quit.
The city is already dead. I've sold you all out.
Jack, I think maybe we should be anywhere else just about now.
Ashlyn.
We're out of here.
Returning to Crew's bar, Tess reveals that before his death, Crew hid something inside the Whack-A-Metalhead arcade machine. Curious, Jack plays. After beating the high score, a hidden time map ejects from the machine, coordinates tied to the Rift Rider. As Jack delivers his excellent victory monologue, metalheads suddenly crash into the bar. 2 shots later, Jack drops them. Clean, efficient. Daxter then realizes something's wrong. Where is Sig? Tess explains that the Crew sent Sig on one final mission, to use Mar's ruby key to unlock a secret door in the underport. Without hesitation, the duo heads out. Tess takes a time map to Kira, knowing that it may be critical to finishing the Rift Rider. Deep in the underport, Jack and Daxter find Sig locked in combat with waves of metalheads. It was a setup a trap. Together, they fight their way out, only to be confronted by a massive metalhead scorpion. The creature chases them through the collapsing corridors, forcing them into a desperate retreat. For a brief moment, it seems they survived. Sig stands tall, ready for the final showdown. And then, a scorpion strikes. Sig is taken, leaving Jak and Daxter to escape their own. Back at the stadium, Jak learns that the Rift Rider is finally complete, but there's one problem. It needs to reach the Metalhead nest. Jak volunteers to hold the line and protect New Haven City, while the two sages prepare to transport the Rift Rider via balloon towards the nest. As chaos erupts across the city, Jak makes one last stop, the construction site, and there, everything comes crashing down. The truth about the Metalhead leader is revealed.
Core, what's going on?
I'm sure you know. Deep down in your darkest nightmares. We've met before, remember? Everything's going exactly as planned.
Jak! It's the Metalhead leader!
Now you see. Without the shield wall disrupting my powers inside the city, I am my full potential now. So for the last time, give me the Precursor Stone! If the city must die, then we all die! I will find that stone if I have to crush this city one brick at a time!
You are the supreme weapon, Jak, and I made you. Still, any leader worth his salt always has his backup plan. Remember, the first rule in making a bomb is to always make two.
No, okay, I'm going in. Man, what a mess of junk in here. All jumbled coils and switches. Should I unhook the blue wire? Wait a minute, are Otzel's colorblind? Let me just break a few more things and see if anything pops loose. Boom! Gotcha! Like candy from a baby.
They reach the nest with stone in hand. After clearing out the surrounding forces, Jak activates the stone and uses it to power shatter one protective barrier guarding the nest. One blast, the shield falls. And now, Jak is ready for war. He storms the nest alone, pushing through waves of metalheads deeper and deeper into the heart of the hive, until he finally confronts Core in his true form.
Finally, you've decided to join us, and you brought the Precursor Stone. Good. The boy will now play his final part.
Not this time.
Oh, but this child is such a part of this, such a part of you. Don't you recognize him? The boy is you, Jak. And this place, this is where you began, in the future.
But how?
You were hidden in the past on the hope that you would gain the skills to face me today. But Onin was wrong. Now that you've been altered with Dark Eco, the stone will never open for you. Your younger self, however, still has the pure gift. He alone can awaken the stone and the precursor entity which sleeps inside.
This stone is a precursor?
The last precursor egg. Ma was clever. He covered his tracks well through time, hiding his last egg from me and building the shield and city to defend it. It has been a long siege, but today I will finally feed on the last precursor life force.
I think you're forgetting one little thing, Metalomaniac. We've got the Precursor Stone.
Not for long.
What follows is a grueling battle. The stakes aren't just personal anymore. This isn't about revenge, it's about survival. After an intense showdown, Jak defeats the Metalhead leader once and for all. Core falls, the nest collapses, the war ends. But because this story is about time travel, victory isn't that simple. There are still loose ends that must be tied. The Rift Rider still exists, the timeline must remain intact, the boy's destiny must be reserved. Before anyone can truly celebrate, sacrifices and choices have to be made to ensure history unfolds the way it was intended to. And once those final pieces are set in place, the story finally comes to a close.
Oh man, a precursor.
It is finished. Our ancient enemy is no more. Take hope, brave one. The terrible darkness inside you is now balanced by a glorious light. We will meet again.
We haven't much time. I've set the coordinates back to our village. Let's go home, everyone.
But we are home.
Kira, I'm afraid your Rift Rider must be used to send young Jak here to a place where he will grow up, safe from harm. He must become old enough to complete the destiny he has fulfilled today. Wait a minute. It's you. I mean, it's me. I have to take him back and watch over him, don't I? Ah, grub roots. Talk about being in the wrong time at the right place.
Hey kid, you take care. Oh, and trust me on this. Stay away from any Wumpy nest on your 9th birthday, okay?
I sure hope I built this replica right. I don't know if it...
It's perfect, Kira. This is the very machine we found, or will find later.
What? I just built this. After seeing the first one, I mean. It's based on what I remember from...
Honey, the more you think about it, the more it hurts the head.
I'll take good care of the child. And don't worry. I'll be back in time for the celebration. Farewell.
Thanks, Amos. Without you...
It's funny. The boy won't remember any of this.
No. I do remember the light.
Your transport is ready, milady.
Thank you, Captain Bruder. Come on. We'll be late for the party at Daxter's new place.
I've got so much work to do. Besides, it's not my thing.
Ten hut! As the new governor of this city, I ordered the commander of the New Crimson Guard to escort me to an official function. Is that understood?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
You can start rebuilding the city tomorrow. Tonight, we get to celebrate with our new friends. Besides, tough guy, I'm dying to see you dance.
Not likely.
Welcome to the Naughty Dog, the hippest, happiest joint in town. Check out the new decor.
Ooh, what a big trophy.
As if size matters. I bagged that bad boy myself, baby.
Onan says she doesn't know who has a bigger head, him or you.
We must not forget Vin and all the others who sacrificed their lives to defeat this evil and protect the child.
I still can't believe that little boy was me. Better times, huh?
You miss him, huh? You know, the kid grows up to be a handsome hero.
Hey, that's enough for you, lady. I'm cutting you off.
Trust me, she gets real mean when she's like this.
What'd she say?
Something about rubber tubing and certain parts of your mother. You don't want to know.
Ah! A metalhead!
Sig!
Sig! I knew that.
You're okay.
You cherries didn't think some nasty breath, giant-sized lizard was gonna keep me from the biggest party in town, did you?
I knew you were too tough for him, big guy.
You saved the city and more, my boy. Metalcore and his menace are history, and somewhere out there, an ancient race has begun again.
I'm just glad to be back home.
Yeah, well, rest up. We've got a lot to do, and so much time to do it in.
Don't say time. The Rift Ring was destroyed, remember?
You know, my mama used to read bedtime stories about Ma when she tucked me in. She'd give me a nice glass of warm yak cow milk, a little poopsie bear.
Bedtime stories? Warm milk? Poopsie bear? Buddy, you just blew your image.
I've got a feeling we'll meet Mar someday. He may be closer than you think.
You're the designated driver.
Oh, no. I am done with adventures. Besides, you'll tell us before something happens next time, right, Samos? Right, Samos?
You never know what the future may hold.
Wait. You know something, don't you, Feather Breath?
Who, me? No, we're just guessing, right, Samos? Hey, tomorrow, only time will tell.
No, you're gonna tell right now! Why, you little cat! Why, you! Dirty fighting! Dirty fighting! My beak! Oh, that's on my beak! Watch your pet!
Jak, my boy, a future awaits.
At its core, Jak II is an epic time travel story, but more importantly, it's a story about growing up. The sequel doesn't reinvent the franchise, it recontextualizes everything that came before it. It matures the world, matures the protagonist, and even matures the storytelling. Now, let's talk about time travel for a second, because when writers introduce time travel, two things usually happen. One, audience assume the writer is trying to escape a corner they wrote themselves into, or two, the story's rules suddenly become fragile, confusing, and overcomplicated. Time travel can make or break a narrative sometimes, but in Jak II, it strengthens it. At first, the game wants you to believe something simple. We think Jak and Daxter were transported to another dimension, a darker world, a harsher version of reality. Haven City doesn't feel like the colorful land from Jak and Daxter, the precursor legacy. The tone is different, the architecture is different, the people are different. So naturally we assume new world, new timeline, fresh start. But the genius of Jak II is that it never actually tells you that. It lets you assume it. Once the Dead Town reveal happens, everything shifts.
Today's the big day, Jak. I hope you are prepared for whatever happens.
I think I figured out most of this machine. It interacts somehow with that large precursor ring. I just hope we didn't break anything moving it here to the lab.
Easy for you to say. We did all the heavy lifting.
Daxter, don't touch anything! Though the precursors vanished long ago, the artifacts they left behind can still do great harm.
Or great good, if you figure out how to use them.
I've had some experience with such things. I know you can make it work.
Looks like Jak still got the mojo.
Interesting. It appears to be reading out some preset coordinates.
Look at that!
Finally, the last rift gate has been opened.
What are those things?
So this is how it happened.
You cannot hide from me, boy.
Do something, Jak!
What's this do? Or that? How about this one? Everybody press all the buttons!
What was that thing?
Hang on, everyone!
I want on this thing!
Find yourself, Jak!
Okay, I swear, that's the last time I ever touch any stupid precursor crap!
There he is. Move in. Step away from the animal.
Ah!
Forget the rat. The Baron wants him. We've been waiting for you.
Don't worry, Jak. I'll save you before you know it.
They didn't travel across dimensions. They traveled forward in time. And suddenly the entire narrative reframes itself. Dead Town, it's Sandover Village. The ruins aren't random, they're history. The precursor rings weren't just a portal to somewhere else, it was a doorway to the future. When you replay this game knowing this, even core becomes obvious.
Hello, strangers. My name is Core. May I help?
You look like a reasonably smart man. I want information. Where the hell am I?
Sorry. He's new to the whole conversation thing.
Well, my angry sorry, young friend. You are a guest of His Majesty, Baron Praxis, the ruler of glorious Haven City.
I was just a guest in the good Baron's prison.
Inside a cell or inside the city, walls surround us both. We are all his prisoners. Talk about being in the wrong place at the wrong time. I'd move on if I were you.
Core appears immediately after Jak escapes prison. He knows too much. He's oddly interested in the boy. He's very vocal about Praxis double-crossing the Metalhead's leader. And he pushes Jak towards specific actions, especially those involving Mars' legacy. When you understand the time loop, Core's behavior isn't mysterious, it's strategic. He's manipulating the events to preserve a timeline that benefits him. And here's the brilliance. Because we think we're in another dimension, we're not looking for time loop logic. We're not suspicious of casualty. We're distracted by the tone shift. That misdirection is intentional. Now, earlier I spoke about meta commentary on growing up, and it's important because when you take a step back and look at Naughty Dog as a company, they built their legacy on games that felt innocent. Crash Bandicoot and the first Jak and Daxter, bright worlds, cartoon energy, playful music, clear good versus evil tropes. These games felt pure, and for many of us, so were we. But here's the thing about growing up. The games don't change first. We do. As players mature, we start craving different experiences. We want more complexity, more emotional weight, more realism. And by the early 2000s, the gaming audience was aging rapidly. The PlayStation generation was not 10 anymore. They were teenagers. And with that shift, games started changing. And Jak II becomes the perfect metaphor for that era. And I showed this earlier from Jason Rubin.
We weren't fighting just to get stuff up on screen, which we were with the first games. So we had a lot of things that we had wanted to do that we just simply ran out of time. So the maturity was not one of those things. The second thing we did is we looked at the market 2 years after Jak and said, okay, what's happened? And things had changed greatly since Crash days. When Crash came out, well, first of all, there hadn't been a GTA 3. Certainly there had been violent video games, but they were almost more slapstick arcade games like, what was it called, Slasher or whatever it was, more than something serious. And certainly none of them were that much fun that they really, drove something home. Something like Mortal Kombat was violent and it was a huge success, but it wasn't that much different than Street Fighter. Then the violence seemed like anything more than kitsch, right? Street Fighter was actually a much better fighting game. So people just kind of said, oh, the gore is kind of kitsch. So it didn't sell off what Grand Theft Auto set up. And I'm about the oldest person that could have a lifetime devoted to playing games. I don't remember a time before games, really. We're still playing games, 33-year-olds, 25-year-olds. And somebody very bright said at Rockstar, there's this huge market out there. They've got more disposable income than 14-year-olds. They buy their own games. Let's supply them with games. And as soon as they opened Pandora's box and said, here's fare for you that those people wanted, not necessarily violence, but something a little bit more mature. Play a criminal, things like that. Something that just had a little bit more edge than the friendly fare like Mario and Sonic and stuff like that. And as soon as Pandora's box were open, the 16-year-olds and the 14-year-olds were saying, I want to be like the older guys. I want to play their stuff. Common, right? You want to be like somebody older than you. And certainly Grand Theft Auto couldn't be as successful as it was without 14 and 12-year-olds playing it.
When you compare Jak 1 to Jak 2, the difference is almost shocking. In the first one, Jak doesn't even speak. Where Jak is silent, the world is loud. In Jak 2, he speaks, and his first words aren't hopeful. They're angry.
I'm gonna kill Praxis!
That single line tells you everything. Jak didn't just get older, he hardened, just like the audience. Just like gaming at the time. The shift from collectathon platformer dystopian action epic mirrors what was happening across the industry. Mascot platformers were fading, open worlds were rising, grit replaced whimsy. Jak didn't lose his childhood, he grew out of it.
I want you boys to escort the kid over to Core at the power station. He promised to look out for the boy, and I'm just too busy to babysit right now. Oh, and take the kid's crocodile with you.
Oh, isn't he sweet?
So what's this kid's story?
I found him just wandering the streets, but that amulet around his neck means he may just be the lost heir to the city. Take the kid and the mutt to the power station. Watch out for guard patrols and defend the kid at all costs. Oh, and if you happen to lose the crocodile...
One of the most powerful images in this entire game isn't Dark Jak. It's the young boy. When we discover the boy is Jak, the metaphor becomes clear. Young Jak represents innocence, potential, purity. Older Jak represents experience, anger, trauma. And the entire story becomes about reconnecting those two versions. Remember Samos's words from the very beginning?
Find yourself, Jak!
Jak spends the whole game trying to figure out who he is. A weapon, a monster, a hero. And the answer was his entire journey throughout this game. And that journey was about growing up. You don't abandon your childhood, you integrate it. When Jak protects the boy, he's protecting his past. That's not just narrative, that's thematic maturity.
Hey kid, you take care. Oh, and trust me on this. Stay away from any wumpy nest on your 9th birthday, okay?
I sure hope I built this replica right. I don't know if it...
It's perfect, Kira. This is the very machine we found, or will find later.
What? I just built this. After seeing the first one, I mean. It's based on what I remember from before.
Honey, the more you think about it, the more it hurts the head.
I'll take good care of the child. And don't worry. I'll be back in time for the celebration. Farewell.
Thanks, Samos. Without you...
It's funny. The boy won't remember any of this.
No. I do remember the light.
Now, here's where it gets even more interesting. Throughout the game, we see Naughty Dog subtly embed commentary about control and exploitation. Crew is a businessman, a manipulator, a middleman working deals between powerful foes. He profits off of chaos. He pushes others to do the dirty work. And what he does with these sacred artifacts, he monetizes them, destroys them, sells them. There's something very familiar about that. Naughty Dog built Crash Bandicoot, but they didn't own him. Universal Interactive did. So hear me when I say, Universal is a business, a middleman working between Naughty Dog and Sony, making profit off of hard work, and push Naughty Dog to work on Crash. And what did they do? They passed Crash around, stripped of original vision. But looking forward, Jak unknowingly helped desecrate something for profit, just like Naughty Dog once built something sacred only to watch it be handled for business reasons. That parallel may not be officially confirmed, but it's hard not to see.
And your contract with just a few trifles for me. I've already signed your name to save time.
We, the racers, hereby agree to give Crew all proceeds from race earnings, endorsement fees, broadcast royalties, syndication residuals, vehicle sponsorships, small appearance fees, collectible card assets, fast food tie-ins, use of likeness rights, talk show deals, clothing lines, all print rights, including book, novella, comic, pamphlet, ticket tape, neon sign, and bathroom graffiti designs. Toy rights, shoe lines, mood rings, game rights. Game rights! Vitamin endorsements, city kickback movie deals, and of course, all death and dismemberment accident insurance claims.
We can work out the tiny details later.
By 2003, the industry was shifting. GTA 3 had changed expectations. MGS2 blurred reality and fiction. God of War would soon embrace brutality. Gaming wasn't just for kids anymore. And Naughty Dog did not resist that shift. They leaned into it. Jak isn't a betrayal of Jak 1. It's what happens when childhood meets reality. It's what happens when innocence collides with power. It's what happens when you grow up. Now that we've broken down the story, it's time to talk about gameplay. And this is where Jak II makes its boldest statement. Because when you compare Jak II to the first game, you don't just see a sequel, you see a transformation. So let's go compare and contrast, and let's start with the familiar. At its foundation, Jak II is still built on the same movement system from the first game. Jak still has his double jump, his dive attack, spin-based combat flow, crouch jumps, and a seamless world overall. The platforming DNA is still there. The responsiveness is still tight. The animations are still fluid. If you stripped away the guns, the vehicles, and the darker tone, you could still feel the precursor legacy underneath it all. Eco is still present, but it no longer works the same way. With Dark Eco, Jak just becomes Dark Jak. And that isn't just a power-up, it's a rage mechanic. Now, here's where everything shifts. Jak II introduces weapons. For the first time in the series, Jak uses guns, and not just one. The Morph gun introduces multiple weapon mods. You have the scatter gun, which operates like a shotgun, the blaster, which is perfect for mid-range rapid fire, the Vulcan Fury, which is a machine gun, and at the end you get the Peacemaker, a high-impact explosive shot. This instantly changes combat philosophy. In Jak I, enemies were obstacles in platforming routes. In Jak II, enemies are threats in urban warfare. And combat is no longer optional. It's constant. And for some reason, this game also got rid of the first-person aiming in the first game. Another massive change, Haven City. Instead of segmented hubs connected by scenic transitions, Jak II places you in living, breathing urban space. You can steal cars, navigate the open city, trigger police chases, and rack up wanted levels. Yes, the GTA influence is on full display. But when you look deeper, you can say, this is not a clone. This is an adaptation. GTA 3 showed that players wanted freedom in 3D spaces. This game integrates that philosophy, but keeps platforming as the backbone. You still climb, you still solve challenges, you just do it now in a city that fights back. Now I want to take a moment in time to talk about the difficulty. This game is significantly harder than the first game. Checkpoints are harsher, missions are less forgiving, vehicle sections can be brutal, and enemy waves are relentless. And I speak for everyone that has played this game. Shooting 40 crimson heads just while sitting in a turret was cheap gameplay. Checkpoints were cheap, and trust me, when I say you will have so many deaths, I saw someone call this game Dark Souls for kids. You will spend hours on YouTube looking up tutorials instantly, like the mission to get the COPs at the water slums. Did you know that mission is very easy if you just spam the punch button? I died dozens of times until I saw that exploit and thought this is insane. And it actually worked. But this was a response to everyone who said Jak 1 was too easy. Naughty Dog showed they can still be just as unforgiving. They reminded us they originally made Crash Bandicoot. And in my first Crash video, I said Crash was the hardest game I ever played. I was wrong. Thank you, Jak II. When Jak II released in October 2003, the response was largely positive, but not without debate. On Metacritic, the game holds a 87 out of 100, landing comfortably in the generally positives category. Major outlets praised the game's ambition. IGN awarded it a 9.5 out of 10, calling it a bold evolution for the franchise. GameSpot gave it a 9.1, highlighting its genre-bending design, and Eurogamer even gave it a 9 out of 10. It even earned Editor's Choice Awards from both IGN and GameSpot in 2003. Critics applauded its willingness to step outside the traditional platformer mold. The blend of platforming, open world structures, shooting mechanics, and racing elements was seen as ambitious. especially during a time when mascot platformers were fading from the spotlight. But the praise wasn't universal. Reviewers genuinely admired the combat expansion. The Morph gun was praised for integrating smoothly with Jak's movement system, the dark transformation with added power, fantasy, and spectacle, and the mission-based structure kept players engaged. However, it's roughly a 15 to 25 hour campaign. However, the difficulty was polarizing. Some critics appreciated the challenge, arguing that tough missions made victories more satisfying. Others found the game punishing. Scarce checkpoints, relentless enemy waves, demanding vehicle sections, long escort missions. GameSpy notably criticized the game for frustrating difficulty spikes and tonal inconsistency. Years later, IGN would even rank Jak II among the hardest PlayStation 2 games ever made. And interestingly, Naughty Dog developer Josh Shear will later admit that in hindsight, the difficulty may have been overwhelming. But the darker tone was one of the most discussed changes. Many outlets praised the maturity shift, saying it added emotional weight and narrative complexity. Jak, speaking for the first time, was considered a bold but successful move. His anger and edge gave him depth that the silent version never had. Daxter's humor continued to provide balance, though some critics found his jokes predictable. The time travel twist and three-faction conflict were praised as ambitious storytelling for a platforming franchise at that time. However, some felt the edgy tone was trying too hard to grow up, arguing that it sometimes felt forced rather than organic. Still, the overall consensus was the story's ambition elevated the experience. Technically, the game was considered a PlayStation 2 showcase. Haven City was praised for high polygon density, seamless level transitions, no loading screens, dynamic lighting, and large-scale environments, just like the first game. And critics even frequently described it as pushing the PS2 hardware to its limits. The darker aesthetic divided opinion. Some missed the vibrant colors of the first game, others felt the gritty tone suited the story. Sound design and voice acting were widely praised. The soundtrack, however, was often described as serviceable but not iconic. Commercially, the game performed well. It was added to Sony's greatest hits lineup less than a year after the release, indicating strong early sales. Worldwide, the game sold over 1.6 million copies by April 2004, eventually surpassing that figure further. In Japan, it received a platinum prize for selling over 1 million units. Years later, outlets like Digital Trends, Kotaku would revisit the game and call it one of the best entries in the entire series, and one of PlayStation 2's standout titles. Now, here's the real takeaway. Jak II wasn't universally loved. It wasn't universally hated. It was divisive, and sometimes that's a sign of something bold. It didn't play it safe. It didn't repeat the first game. It challenged the audience, and in doing so, it secured its place as one of the most talked about platforms of the PlayStation 2 era. Before I start, I want to correct something from my last video. Recently, I learned about the fan-made PC port of Jak and Daxter and Jak II, and from what I heard, it might actually be the best way to experience the games today. I haven't tried it yet, but if it is truly the definitive version, I hope to revisit it in that way someday. Now, let's talk about how I really feel about Jak II. Truthfully, the game is ridiculous in difficulty. I've played hard games before, but Jak II crosses the line into unfair at times. Sparse checkpoints, relentless enemies, brutal vehicle missions. There were moments where I genuinely questioned my sanity, and I rage quit thousands of times. But here's the thing. If you're competitive, if you enjoy overcoming punishing challenges, then this game is perfect. And I have to admit something interesting. If I was younger, maybe still a kid with endless time on my hands, this would have consumed me at the best time possible. I would have replayed missions for hours just to prove I could beat them. But being in my 20s now, with responsibilities, limited time, and a schedule, that difficulty is different. It can be exhausting, and yet I kept playing. Because while the gameplay was frustrating at times, the story kept pulling me back in. The narrative, the time travel twist, the identity reveal, the darker tone kept me invested even when the missions felt punishing. And yes, I'll admit some parts of the story become predictable the more you analyze it. You start to see the twist coming, you start noticing Corey's behavior early, but even knowing where it's going, it's still pretty powerful to watch. It's still satisfying to see this unfold. What really stood out to me was how seamlessly Naughty Dog infused this harsh, gritty reality into the original Jak formula. It didn't erase what came before, it instead evolved that formula. And that metaphor of Jak growing up, the character maturing alongside the audience, hit me harder now than it ever would have as a kid. Looking at little Jak and older Jak side by side feels like looking at a childhood and adulthood next to each other. You don't lose who you are, you carry it with you. And that theme resonated with me. Interestingly, there were moments where the combat and tone reminded me of Ratchet & Clank, which makes sense given the era and technical overlap between the studios. But even then, Jak II feels more grounded, more personal. Playing it today, I find myself drawn to this world, not because it's new to me, but because its tone and themes feel more relatable. So after finishing this game, I don't just see it as a GTA clone. I don't see it as a soft reboot. And I don't just see it as that hard Jak game. I see it as a moment where Naughty Dog connected with the audience in a way they never had before. They grew up, and so did we. And years later, you can still feel that shift. If you made it into this video, thank you. Seriously. If you enjoyed it, dropping a like goes a long way in helping smaller channels like mine grow. We still have 2 Jak videos left this month, so if you want to stay up to date with the Naughty Dog Takeover, hit that subscribe button. We got a full year of content ahead, and if you like to support the channel directly, you can always buy me a cup of coffee. The link is in the description. With that said, this is the Retro Phantom, signing out.